We have people from Asia, Europe, and America. So it's a good crowd. It's wonderful to see all of you. One of the most interesting things that is happening, and it's funny, some of you are causing major problem for us.
That's good. We're troublemakers.
Yeah, troublemakers. People register, and the moment they see your works, they just give up. They say these are professional painters. Yeah. And no matter how, how you tell them that, look, they just started, it just, some of these people had never painted before. They just started. People don't believe us. They think that you guys are too advanced for them to join you.
Oh.
So we got to somehow think about that trouble. Maybe you should not learn so fast. Maybe we should just start with, might teach you how to draw a square and how to draw a circle.
We could do finger painting.
Started stick figures.
Let's do finger painting. I like that.
Yeah, somebody sent an email to me and said, look, I want to take this course because I want to learn how to paint. Uh, and I responded that this is not your place because this is not about learning how to paint. It's about knowing your own power in creating. It's a whole different game. Learning how to paint is as simple as 1 hour on the internet. Just follow everything that they tell you, and you learn everything that you need to know about painting, how to mix colors, how to blend them, all of these things. That is something that you've got to learn it your way, not my way, not anybody else's way, your way. And your way of learning is to practice, is to start playing, not making a painting. If you're thinking of making a painting, this is not your place. This is about play shop. This is to play. As you play freely, you go into a zone of divinity. That is where, what in the sport they call it, in zone or whatever they call it, in different things. But you've got to get into that zone when you don't know who you are. And when you don't know who you are, then you allow the divine power to work through you.
Yes.
The divine power that is already inside you starts to bloom, start to come out. So is this about learning how to paint? No, it's not. How to paint is how to mix, how to make green. Mix yellow and blue together, and you learn for the rest of your life how to mix colors. That's not the issue. The issue is to recognize that I am powerful more than I think. I can create things that I didn't think that I can create. I can create things that I thought is just for the artists, but now I can paint like an artist. And you've seen that. It amazes me constantly to see that the moment you touch your inner self, the moment you recognize your power, the whole world changes for you. The whole world changes for you.
Hmm.
A living example is my own wife, Giti. I can feel it, I can see it constantly, how the whole world changes for her. So it's not my imagination or it's not something that I read somewhere. What you need is to know you're greater than what you think you are. The moment you realize that you're greater than what you think you are, you begin to search for that greatness in you. That greatness in you is the greatness that God has, which is creativity. God creates. God doesn't save money in the banks or keep the jewelry somewhere or any of these. God creates. And the moment you creating, like Paul Gauguin says, I create like God Therefore, I'm God. As simple as that. So get to know your power. You're greater than you think you are. You haven't even seen a little light that is inside you. It's there. It just comes out no matter what age you are, who you are. Uh, your everything is all irrelevant. We're nothing when it comes to the power that we have. We're only skin and body, but the power that we have, the spirit that is inside us, that is the divine power. So all we have to do is get out of the way. Just get out of the way and let that divine power come through us. How does divine power come through us? How do we get out of the way? Shut off the devil that is inside your brain. Shut it off. Get drunk. Whatever power that you can follow in order to get out of the way, get in touch with that power. Live with it. Live with it, and you can begin to find the things that you never knew you're capable of doing. It's amazing. And my life is all based on that because I'm constantly moving from one thing to another. A day in my life is like 4 or 5 days. Sometimes I'm a painter, sometimes I'm a writer, sometimes I'm a lecturer. Every moment it changes. Therefore, I live these different lives. So take it a little bit more serious. This is not entertainment. This is not about painting a painting to give it to your friend as a gift. It's about being you, being that hidden you that is going to come out. So these are the series that people who are looking for how to mix color are not connecting with it. They have no room for it because we're in a different zone. How to does not exist in our world. How to, the answer is inside us. And to learn something, you don't need to learn anything. Everything is in the palm of your hand as you move your finger on it. Whatever you want to find, to learn, is right there. Why do you want to, use up your brain for nothing? Use up your brain for feeling the beauty of heaven that we live in. And the moment you feel that beauty, the moment you see that excitement, in just a little plant that comes out of the crack of a pavement. Just look at that and recognize the greatness that exists. So these are what we're about. And it's difficult for people to even connect with it. Therefore, we are just, what we are. The only thing that we can do is to spread this idea around. Let people know they're great. Let people know they're great. And these series, especially these particular series, you're really fortunate to be in these series. I'm fortunate to be in this series because this is where we get to really touch the divine in us. Whatever comes out of me is not something that I have rehearsed or written down or any of those. It's something that I want to share with you because of what I feel from you. As I talk with you, as I see you, I feel you. I never thought that I can do it on the internet, on Zoom, but I feel that connection. And from that connection, I respond to your emotion. So it's really as much as you can respond, then we just build up, build up. But the moment you say, nay, I don't agree with that already, we stop, we freeze it. Or the moment you say, good, this is fantastic, we freeze it. Put the judgment aside, put the judgment aside, be you. Become a blank canvas as of now, become a blank canvas and allow the divine power to paint on that canvas. Get out of the way. Don't bring any of your memory into it. When you make love, you don't bring your memories into it. You just follow. You just follow the flow. Follow the flow. Put yourself into that condition and then follow the flow. All you have to do is to condition yourself. And in order for you to condition for yourself to receive the divine power and put it back, is to get rid of what is blocking it. Get rid of what is blocked. Don't go after gaining anything. Don't go after getting anything from anybody. Just remove the blocks. Be a destroyer. Don't be a maker of anything. Be a destroyer of what blocks your way. Imagine the divine power, that energy, that flow is a river that is going by, and you're on the edge of the river. And there's some rocks and trees and all of these that prevent you from going in the water. Here's some water on this side of the river, and all you have to do is to get to the river to be in the flow. So the only way that water on this side of the river can get into the river is to get rid of what is blocking it. So what you have to do is only get rid of what is blocking you. The moment you think that, oh my God, I don't have money for this. The moment you think that, oh God, I don't have the time. The moment you see any of these are the blocks. These are the blocks. Stop these blocks. Be in the flow. Be in the flow. Every time that I begin to do something new, I love it. I'm in the flow. And I do new things all the time. It's not just once a day or once a week. I go after doing new things. As I'm talking with you, is a new thing that I'm doing. At this point, I'm discussing something that I had never discussed before. It just comes through. Do that on the canvas, and then you would be a great artist. And then nobody's going to register for the course anymore because they think these are too good. So, just tell us what has brought you here, and just really truly speak your heart out. Not try to make anybody feel good or any of that. Speak your heart out. What is that you feel like is a challenge that you want to face?
I'm Rondi Assini. I live in Indian Rocks Beach, Florida, which is like the same beach as Clearwater, Florida. So it's just like, 5 minutes down the beach. I love painting. I love these classes, and I love everyone here. Right now I'm traveling. I'm on a road trip with a car club that we travel with, and it's just we're having the best time. We were in Santa Fe. I went to the museum, the Georgia O'Keeffe. A lot of her stuff was out, I think, in other museums because it was very slim there at this time. But just having a blast. Yeah, Canyon Road, and yeah. So I'm in Vail now, and we're heading to Denver next.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
me.
Michelle, you want to go next?
Sure. I'm Michelle Silverman, and I've been learning from Rassouli. I think we're having our 10th year anniversary that I've been learning from him, and it's just such a gift to be around the students and the community that he brings together. It's and I can't wait to get to know all of you. I live right down the beach from Rondi.
Just a few miles.
Yeah, by just about like 40 miles or something. And yeah, so I live in Sarasota, Florida, and
Well,
Hey,
Michelle.
yes.
Yeah,
Happy
sure.
birthday.
Hi.
I think I'll go next because Michelle was last. Michelle is my wife of 28 years. So obviously we live in Sarasota together with 2 cats. And although Michelle has been studying with Rassouli for 10 years, I've been studying with him for 20 weeks. My biggest barrier, honestly, was I'm not an artist. I'm a writer. I am not an artist. Well, as you can see by what's behind me, that was from the last session. And I literally moved heaven and earth and my brain out of the way to let things flow. And this not only made a difference in terms of my artistry, it made a difference in terms of my whole life. I'm a doer, but now I'm also a creator. And it's something that, in all honesty, in this period between last session and this session, I couldn't not paint. So I did another piece because I found that it is now a part of me. And I just can't let go of it. I still slip back into thinking. And so for me, that's the barrier that I'm going to continually work through. But I kind of think I'm well on my way.
Wonderful. If you want to ever celebrate your birthday, this is the celebration. You are shifting from a doer into a creator. That big shift is very important. Most people don't recognize that. A doer is to do something in order to enjoy after it's done. A doer makes a table so they can sit at the table and enjoy it. But a creator is the one that enjoys creating, doesn't get stuck to whatever the end result is, just enjoys creating. Layla, you've heard the word and you probably know some friends whose name is Layla. It's a Sanskrit word. Lay means to create, to make. La is to destroy. Layla, create, destroy, create, destroy, create, destroy, create, destroy. This is the divine act. This is being God. Laylaing is what we need to replace working. If we Layla, we don't need to work. If you're doing things because you're just doing it because you feel like doing it, you enjoy doing it, that makes you great. This is where the greatness comes from. To do things with enjoyment, not to do things as a work. No worker ever makes it to anything special. It's the one who does these ridiculous things that is not necessarily acceptable by the social norm.
I challenged myself by actually signing up for this course because I start work again on Monday and I haven't been working for the last year and a half. It's a new job, and with that comes getting to know the environment, the landscape, the people, and you're definitely in your brain. And I need to, put the identity on and click, walk in. It's a corporate environment. And it made absolutely no sense to sign up for this next 10-week course. I was like, I said to my husband, Michael, I even asked my daughter, Summer, I'm like, is it crazy? Do you think I'm going to be able to, create a piece of art every week to submit, and am I really going to be able to? And I just, and even saying that out loud, it sounded ridiculous to me. Like it, um, for I purposely turned my dining room slash office into, I've got paintings on the wall and I have my paints all out. And then I put up cardboard on one wall and I hang a painting that I'm working on that's in direct view of my kitchen. I spend a lot of time in the kitchen, food prep and all this. And so every time I go to the fridge, it's right there in my peripheral. So if I'm doing stuff and my brain's working and I gotta blah, 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 I see it in my peripheral and it's calling me, right? So um, that's why I'm here, because I am looking for that support. I've loved meeting the other students in this circle. I love hearing you talk, Rassouli. So this is just my way of moving the obstacle, right? And I'm not going to say work's the obstacle. I'm actually going to find my creativity through the work, but the painting will be a part of it. Yeah. So I get it. Yeah, just the letting go and creating. So I'm happy to be here. Oh, and just one other thing. I just have to tell you, Rassouli, since I have you. You recognize these?
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's Journey of Love, one of my earlier works. Yeah.
So this card every Friday, my husband and I get together with a spiritual group, and we discuss books and things. And this Friday, I said, let's. My husband actually came up with the idea, and he said, let's pick a card from a deck and then go around, and people can read the card and see, how. Whatever the message in the card is relates to what's going on with themselves now. And we had 10 people in our living room last night. Everybody drew a card and it was just mind blowing. It was so good. And everyone just loved your artwork, loved the writing in it. And I just appreciate all the work and the messages and the teachings. So thank you.
I would love to share. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to be back. I did one session several sessions ago, and I have wanted to be here every time. And life has been getting in the way, and I've been telling myself the stories that I don't have time and should I invest? And my husband bought a business, like a construction business. It's not corporate, but it's like that world, and I'm like helping him, and I have to go to work every day, and I'm finding it a struggle to get in my creative mind. And I've wanted to paint for months, and I keep saying, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then I don't do it. And it's like this rebel in me. My husband will be like, why don't you go paint? And I'm like, just leave me alone. It's pressure. So I've gotten to this point in the past couple of weeks. I did paint. So I have a painting that I just finished. Maybe it's not finished. I don't know, but it felt so good. And then I got your email last night, and it was just like, I get so blown away by divine timing. I just knew in the moment I'm doing this. Yes, I don't have time to do this, but I will make the time. And this will be my, my pressure to like make it happen, because I'm going to have to get there. And this group is just so inspiring and so beautiful. And your opening remarks just like went right to my heart, because it's exactly what I needed to hear. And then Beth, you're sharing like the same thing, like that. I have that same theme going on right now. I just need to get out of that logical mind and find a way to pair them together. It's always been my struggle, if you guys remember, is just like getting in my mind. And so I feel like I grew leaps and bounds in my practice and in my creativity, and it changed my entire life in so many areas last time I was here. And so I'm really looking forward to it this time, just to be here and have a reason to paint and to show up with all of you and see your beautiful works and be inspired. And it's already happening. So thank you so much.
Wonderful. I usually make work as prelude to my play. If you look at it that way, it becomes exciting. I'm doing this thing in order to play.
Yeah, I like that.
At the time that you're doing it, because you're thinking about playing, the idea of play would be with you. See,
Yes.
many times we create, it doesn't have to be necessarily on a canvas or in an instrument. We are creating, but as our mind creates, our mind sees the power of creation in us, our mind believes it. Our mind gets fooled very quickly. So we can, fool our brain and act as, that I am in this work, and your brain would take. So actually, work becomes a prelude. You're doing that to get ready for doing what you want to do. I paint when I feel good. And when I paint, I feel good.
I joined the play shop 2 years ago now. And I must confess, it was with the expectation of learning how to paint. And so I anticipated being able to come away painting beautiful trees and landscapes. And prior to the first session, I very excitedly went to the art shop and probably bought one of most things. And I set up the easel and everything next to the laptop. And Master Rassouli, one of the first things that you said there was, "This is not a painting class." I thought, oh. And I sort of looked across at all the brushes that I had laid out and all the bottles of paint that I had set up. And you said, "You can go on YouTube to learn that. I'm going to teach you how to create." And from that moment, I knew I had hopped onto the right train. And I was in for some special journey. And true, that's exactly what it's been. It's allowed me to connect with my creative self, who's about 3, and she loves painting, free of judgment, and she just goes with it. And I thank Master Rassouli and the group for all of this time and allowing for this space of development and this space where we can share openly without worry or fear or judgment, because it takes a lot, I think, to openly express yourself on a canvas, and then a lot of courage to come here and then share it as well. So this space is such a beautiful space which allows us to do that. And I think with the passing weeks, your heart grows in confidence as you're sharing. And the support and the love that you receive, it makes you want to create even more. And a couple of weeks ago, I went away, and the thought of not painting for even a couple of weeks was too much for me to bear, that I took paints along with me. So I think I'm well and truly a convert. I didn't realize that it meant so much to me, to the point where I needed to pack stuff with me in my suitcase. So thank you.
The last 10 sessions that I joined this play shop, I got to experience a lot of joy because I got to create, and it was the first time for me that I was doing this. And then what I realized, and it was really interesting for me, was that I got to know that I don't know myself at all. Like, I painted something every week that I never knew that I can paint like that, or the colors that I used, or the style. Every week it changed a lot, and it surprised me somehow. And so, except joy, a lot of joy that it has, I can see other sides of myself as well. And it's really interesting. Thank you, Rassouli.
Welcome. And for those of you who saw the video, the last video that we had, the painting that we discussed in that video, I wasn't even in that program, but the painting that you guys discussed on that video was her painting, and she detested the painting. And she didn't want to show it. Even the picture that she took is not a good picture. And I had to work so hard with it to see if I can fix the picture, but I couldn't. And she hated the painting that she did. And everybody agreed that, my God, this is amazing. And the other night, there were some friends in here in my studio, and I showed them that painting. And we began to discuss what is in there, in that painting, that you as an artist are not aware of. And that's what I love about it, because you have allowed your inner self to paint. And this is amazing because that was probably your fourth or fifth painting ever that you have done. And so, welcome. And you're from Iran. Just what time is it in there now?
It's 7 p.m.
7 p.m. Wow.
Yes. And today my brother also joined
All right, good. Well,
playshops.
yeah, welcome. Yeah. Do you want to say anything about it? My brother?
Hello everyone. It's been a while since I was actually searching around to find a way to express feelings. I was stuck in everyday life, and as for us in Iran, it's a lot going on mentally as well as life challenges. Well, the best thing about the best thing that happened was a little while ago. I was telling my sister about how I feel, and what she said was like, I recommend you to read this book. It's called Creativity, written by that's a Rassouli who lives in America as well. So I picked up the book and started reading it, and it also actually gave me a lot of feelings. And what I do through life is I follow my feelings and whatever excites me a lot. And every line and every paragraph that I was going through, it gave me such ecstasy that I really wanted to find an opportunity to join these meetings. And today was the day. I didn't know, like half an hour, that it was going to happen. Otherwise, I may have not taken the risk or like stayed in my comfort zone. But it happened, and I'm very glad, and it's a pleasure to be here with you guys. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for me to come up to find words. It's been a while since last I spoke English, so yeah, excuse my English.
Your English is perfect. Have you been even outside the country?
I used to live in England, in London, for a little while, for 4 years.
Yeah.
It's like I moved out of Iran about 15, 16 years ago, and it's been 7 years that I've moved back. And I haven't been outside the country ever since.
Wow.
And since we don't have many English speaking friends here, so we don't speak much. But it was a pleasure reading a book in English, and I understood everything. And it was very motivating, and I thank you for that.
Wonderful. And you do have a lot of English speaking people here now, and you can make connections
Oh,
with
we do, yeah.
anytime. Yeah, connection
Sure,
with.
of course.
Yeah, I know the Iranians need what we're doing so badly, and I'm hoping to expand it. Your sister is translating the book of creativity and into Persian, and I hope that we could really expand some of our discussions into some young people who need so much to know how great they are.
I was just sending Moen a response to tell him his English was perfect. I love this community, and that's the thing that draws me. That's the thing that excites me, is the connections with each and every one of you, and the people that were in the past workshops, because now I'm coming up to a year of being in these classes. But, you know, far and away, as well as the rich, fuel that you provide for us so that we can fly free, Rassouli, Master Rassouli, is that is so wonderful. But, you know, what really draws me and keeps me here are each and every one of your souls. I mean, we're a soul family, and it's just, you know, that sense of community that I didn't think we could have. I'm not a big computer person. I've had a lot of learning curves on this whole process, Zoom and all of that. I didn't even know how to do a Zoom call. I'm still struggling with some of it. But, you know, I can feel each one of you, and I know you. And each week that I show up, I just feel like, oh, I've missed you guys, and it's just so wonderful to see all the creations coming out and all the beautiful flow that's happening with our group. I think we flow like a river. We're all droplets in that beautiful river, and the God energy is flowing through us, and it comes out on our canvases, and we have fun. I mean, that is for me the best, so that we can just play and have fun and laugh and just be in the moment and allow God to flow through us. We are creators, and we can instruct our minds to just listen to our unconscious, which is make it more prevalent. Yeah.
Being in this workshop has changed me. It has allowed me to rediscover. This is the second time I am having discovery about myself. Rediscover at a deeper level what has been waiting to come out and be discovered. And that is wonderful. It feels so good. So I am on top of the world right now, and you actually, the workshop, being with everybody here, having to find the joy of expressing myself, of finding my truth and revealing it to the world, is one of the most beautiful experiences that I've ever had, and I will continue, because that is what life is all about. Our expression and sharing in the world is who we are and what we are. So the soul sharing that everybody talks about is so wonderful.
I'm so lucky to be here, Rassouli, and with everyone. I have been with you now 2 years. I'm the one that collects the art from all of you each week, and it's just such a beautiful gift each week to see the themes that bring us together. And my husband also was forced by Rassouli to join in a most beautiful way because his voice seduced him every morning when he was hearing him like talk. He's like, what are you a part of here? What's going on? He's fixing the internet right now, but he's here. And I think it's an ongoing process for me, that I'm learning, to get my mind out of the way and, to be okay with the chaos, to be okay with the uncertainty. And that's something that really, I think, as I see everyone and as I experience it on the canvas, to be in that zone, even if it's for a small amount of time, it's so much joy. And just to watch all of you and experience it in my life too, how it carries over in other parts of our lives. It's not just about painting. It's just so much more than that. It's really such a gift to be here with all of you. So thank you.
Yeah. And for all of you to know, if it wasn't because of Rosario, we wouldn't have this program. Because it's all Rosario who really made it happen. Otherwise, I'm just too busy with so many different things that really I don't have the time to, get involved with other stuff. But she makes it so easy that I'm just coming here, sit down and share with you whatever I can, and that's it. And she takes care of everything else. And that's why I'm saying that it's her who does it, not me. If anybody needs to get credit for our gathering and your development, it's Rosario. Thank you.
Hi, Master Rassouli. I'm Zari Naz's friend. I had the privilege of coming to your house for an intimate foursome gathering. It's nice to see you again. I've heard from Zari about all your classes. Your beginning speech really made me realize, oh my God, she was right. You're definitely an interesting human being, and I'm really excited to be here. The reason I joined was because I had a dream that my principal from Iran was telling me, come and help me. And I said, no, I have to go back to school and learn. And I've also decided this year to say yes to a lot of things that I had said no to. And all of a sudden your email popped up, and I decided to join. So I'm very excited to be here to learn from really the gift of your being, and I'm honored to be here. And I know Giti Jun and had the privilege of being with her. And mashallah, Giti Jun, 80 years. I I hope I look like you. And I'm as happy and joyful as you are, which is the most beautiful thing.
Yeah, I'm sure you're going to enjoy, especially these sessions that we're going to be having in the fall.
I think I just wanted to say that one of the reasons, Rondi, I believe that this group is so special is that we're very authentic with each other. And it's that authenticity when we are talking about each other's works and each other's lives that really, truly allows us to be our best, most authentic, most transparent selves, which allows us to do that on the canvas. So I believe the energy that's created by this group carries over when we start playing with our canvases.
Wonderful. And truly, my heart is like a magnet that receives your energy and reflects it back. So thank you. Thank all of you for being a part of this movement. And I hope that we could have some effect, as little as it could be, some effect in the world of tomorrow. This man had a bowl of syrup and a spoon, and was taking the syrup spoon by spoon and was putting it in the Pacific Ocean, just mixing it with water. And somebody said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I'm making a special sweet drink." And he says, "With this bowl and the Pacific Ocean, you cannot do that. That's impossible." And he says, "Yeah, I know it's impossible, but imagine if that could happen, to have the whole Pacific Ocean of sweetness." And this is what we do. With a little bowl, just put some sweetness into this Pacific world. And who knows, maybe we can, bring sweetness to this world that is needed so badly, so badly. So this month, this series in here is going to be about romantic painting. It's not only the approach that we're dealing with and we will carry it through. Also, there is a special technique that I'll discuss with it. But first, let's see what romantic painting is all about. This week, we are going to be concentrating on two of the most important movements in the arts: classic and romantic. These two are like the parents of all the other movements in art. Classic art started with the Greeks and went down to Romans and then Renaissance and Napoleon's era. Classic paintings are rational paintings. They deal with analytical aspects of knowledge. They are pretty much scientific and based on certain standards. They are technique-oriented and intellectual. They are not including emotion. Concentration is in how things work rather than how they look. Here are some examples of classic art. Romantic art is the exact opposite of classic art. Is intuitive rather than rational, is creative rather than following scientific methods. It is emotional and deals with nature. Romantic art has to do with the artistic view of reality. It's about seeing things as they appear. Romantics don't have interest in deep understanding of the nature of things. They don't care about how and why. They reflect what they see. And here are some examples of romantic art. Anybody like to tell us what you got from romantic art versus classic art? What is so special about romantic painting that is different from classic paintings?
You can definitely feel the emotion in each of the romantic ones. It's like the classical ones is it's a tableau. Here it is. There's no feeling of emotion. It's just what is. In the romantic, it is what is with the emotion.
Beautiful, well said. It develops a mood in the painting, where classic work doesn't have a mood in the painting. Classic work is strong, powerful, rational, everything is right, perfect. But when you look at the romantic art, see in the classic art, if something slips in the hand of the artist, you can feel it immediately. That is not classic. But in romantic art, you don't even care whether this looks right or looks wrong, That delacroix that you create is celebration of your personal expression. It's your individual experience that you reflect, which is completely different from classic, where everything has to have a standard and people follow it. Classic art is like a conservative life in politics. You just accept these as basics, and this is the way things should be, and you do it that way. But when it goes to romantic, you celebrate your identity, your personality. That's more important than doing what people think is right. And this is where, my concept about that and the painting that you see, is nobody is to copy anybody's painting or anything like that. It's the concept that I'm looking for. You do it your way. You want to do a rock, you want to do a line, whatever you want to do, learn how to do that line with emotion, how to make this color with emotion, not just, just the way it's right, or people say this is the way it should be. Anybody else wants to tell us what you got from it?
Go ahead, Rondi.
Okay. For me, when I looked at this, I thought immediately of the rational and irrational. And, the classic looks very rational. It's a certain type of beauty, but it's untouchable beauty. And the irrational is the madness that you move into when you start to get into the raw emotions of love. It's madness. It's a form of madness. It's the irrational part that just unleashes that creative fire, or that part of us that is the creator. That is, you were talking about the god and the goddess, like the Kali energy that, we can destroy, and we can create, and, we have that yin and the yang there. And so it really was, for me, I think it's very geometrical, it's very precise, it's very perfect. It's, the mean, the golden mean, you can see it. It's all just very precise and very mathematical. And I'm not a math mind, and any right brain person is never a math mind. They're just all over, and they're irrational. And, that's the divine feminine. We're not rational beings. And that kind of frustrates the male energy because, it's the very rational. So it's like they're two juxtaposed. It's the male and the female, I think, in terms of energies. So that's what I think.
Yeah, good point. And especially now, where we have learned and experienced that rationality don't seem to be working so well.
There is no rationality right now.
We have experienced that. We see it in our politics. We see it. So why not just give in and just flow with it? Just enjoy the ride. Yeah.
Yes, enjoy your ride. That's right. Yeah.
Anybody else wants to share what you got from?
I was just gonna say that in the classic style, you could really feel that attachment to perfection. That it's almost like just sterile, almost like that you see it, that it's beautiful, but it's like Rondi said, untouchable. And the romantic style, it's like it's just the freedom of expression, the freedom of like you completing, or the answer, what was that feeling? Like, it's up to you, the viewer, and not just the artist, what they created. So that makes it, I think, more attractive or more interesting versus the other one that is quite perfect and complete, right? But there's nothing, to answer, nothing to question, because it's all there.
See, classic art deals with your intellect. Romantic art deals with your imagination. That's a major difference between the two. See, when you deal with your imagination, you bring in your dream, your visions, your experience, all of these together, which is all personal, you bring into it. But when you're dealing with intellect, everything gets, sorted out to be just the way it's supposed to be, perfect way. So there is a big difference in here, where in these series of paintings that you're going to be doing, it's all about your imagination. Nobody cares about your technical ability to be able to paint an eye just like an eye. Who gives a damn? There are billions of people who can do that. That's not what we care, but make an eye to feel the sadness, to feel the joy, to feel that. And that is what we're after in here. And I'm going to tell you about the technique that you can use in order to develop that. Okay? I take you step by step through that technical ability. Don't question things, just do them. And please follow the assignments. Because if you miss one, it's hard to get back because they interrelate to each other.
I think the only thing I wanted to add was that in classic, you can learn from the painting what the horse is wearing, exactly what the colors were. It, as you said, very intellect centered. So you actually know that that's the reality of the situation. In romantic, you can connect because of the emotion. And so one no connection, romantic connection. It's the human part of us.
I wanted to just add, everyone said it already, but to me, it was like passive observation versus active observation. So that was and that just covers what everyone already said, but that just kept standing out to me. It's like it pulls you in and you're active in it. So I love that.
Wonderful. And one major thing that I want you to constantly be a part of it, romantics connect with nature. Romantics connect with nature. Romantics are in nature. As they paint, they're part of nature painting. Classics are the opposite. Classics are after what is right to do. What is the standard that everybody accepts? What is the way that Da Vinci painted? It's a different way of looking at things. So you're going to be connecting with the nature more and more and more and more. And get your dream from the nature. Let nature put your mind into dreaming. And then paint. You don't have to paint the trees. You don't have to paint anything like anything. Because it's all your dream, your feeling. But paint when you feel the nature. Take some deep breath, walk around, see a tree, feel a tree, and then start painting. You don't have to paint a tree. Paint whatever you feel like and let it out. Let it out. Don't be constipated. Let it out. So whatever you feel, put it on the canvas, knowing that there is no judgment because there is no classic way of doing things. Romantic does not have judgment. This is the way it is. I love you. Why do you love me? I love you. I don't know why. I just love you. Or I hate you. Why do you hate me? I just don't know. I just hate you. So romantic way has no basis for rationality.
I have a question.
Sure.
Do classics mostly focus on idealized events or events that are perfect in a way, but romantic, it's both of them, either bad or good events, maybe?
A good point. The ideology in classic is a social ideology. It's the ideal of everybody together. What is the best? What is the beauty in the standard that everybody agrees with? In romantic, ideology becomes personal. It's what I like. It's what I feel. If this ugly creature that everybody in the classic world says this is ugly because it's not that way, in romantic, this is the way I feel. So that's the major difference between the two. This is the essence of our movement this time, which is not just romantic. It's not even neo romantic. It's a fusion of the opposites. It's the fusion of darkness and light. It's the fusion of these that what we're after in our romantic approach. So we bring them together. This is how we do it. And let's begin with one of the masters of romantic art. That would be your assignment this week. Don't try to imitate anything that he has done. Learn from the approach. Do your abstract painting, do whatever you want to do, but learn from the approach. And then I tell you a little bit about the technology that is used. One of the most influential artists on me, especially for those of you who keep on asking me how you do the light so bright, and how do you get the glow, and how you get these transparent forms. This is the master that I learned from. This week's artwork is to paint a romantic landscape inspired by the style of Joseph Mallord William Turner. He was a British landscape painter who lived between the years 1775 and 1851. Turner is best known in the art world for his luminous landscapes, many of them painted in semi-abstract scenes. Joseph Turner's landscapes are inspiring, for they evoke our inner feelings. They reveal a world to us that challenges our rational ideas. His landscapes focus on emotion and moods of all kinds, including individuality, mysticism, imagination, and mystery. They are entirely based on the emotions that nature has generated in him. Turner has a passion for light. The light he loves is turbulent and always in motion. He emphasizes dramatic and transient effects of light, atmosphere, and color. He glorifies even what is already glorious. He paints a dynamic natural world that evokes wonderment and grandeur in the viewer. Light in Turner's paintings are strong in relation to floods, storms, fog, and elemental events. Turner's paintings break down the conventional principles of representation. Sometimes his works express significant historical events. Other times they carry mythological, literary, and narrative themes. Turner develops his landscapes in fluid layers of translucent color known as glazing. His focus is usually on the impact of color and light. He renders the awesome power of fire to focus on the relative weakness of man facing the overwhelming forces of nature. Instead of depicting actual forms, Turner depicts moods. He takes nature as it looks and infuses it with a new dynamic imagery. He ignores the precise rendering of details and static scenes that the masters of previous generations and his peers had been pursuing. Instead, he develops brilliant effects in order to render perceptions from closely observed nature. Turner finds form in chaos. Beauty to him is to place the opposites against each other. Dark and light do not merge into one another in Turner's paintings. Joseph William Turner began his artistic career at a very young age. His success was almost immediate as he sold his first painting when he was only 12 years old. From then on, he continued to accomplish significant achievements at a remarkably young age. He remained highly sought after throughout his career that spanned over 60 years. He produced an extensive body of artworks that included landscapes, seascapes, historical subjects, and architectural images. William Turner died of cholera at the age of 76. Today, William Joseph Turner is remembered as an influential painter who was a key inspiration for the development of Impressionism. The art world considers Turner the best landscape painter of the 19th century. How did it feel? Anybody wants to share?
It's a lot to take in. Use of light and the amount of motion that he is able to imbue in his canvases. Your eye can almost go to any part of the canvas and see a different type of motion and therefore emotion.
Beautiful. Anybody else? Go
I
ahead.
was struck by how much light there is on his canvases, and not just from a single light source, for example, the sun or the moon, but every aspect seems to have been kissed by the light. Wherever you're looking, whether it's the water or the trees or the fire, everything is such different forms of light that it's all jumping up. And his paintings are so stirring. To go from what Leslie said, there's such movement in them. It's both stillness and stirring, light and dark. The fusion between the two is spectacular, absolutely spectacular.
To add on to what Kavita said, I really love the play of the dark sacrificing itself for the presence of light all over, and also the reverse. He creates space where dark gives in into the light, and then at times what exists. And I just love the way, with just a little touch of dark brush stroke in any composition he has, he makes it present for both of them to be in life. And so therefore, just seeing it, that's why it affects us so much. To me, it is the play of dark and light, even if it's not even equal. Of course it's not, because light is taking over. And then the beauty of it is, like, the source of light is, of course, the source of light is something like the sun or the moon or some source. But this, once the sun is shining light and giving light, it doesn't matter where it is, where it's standing, where it's existence, it takes over. It spreads into beingness. And that's what he has. So beautiful, so strong.
It's like he created a vortex, and it pulled me into this energy vortex. It was very fast and very encompassing, all encompassing. So it just pulls you into the heart area, and that irrational feeling of the storm and the darkness and the light, and it's just all very exciting and beautiful. And yet it wasn't the standard of beauty that you saw in the classical, of course, but that's what made it so beautiful, because it was more a expression from that void that we all want to paint from. Yeah, I really loved him. I love him. My aunt and uncle, my aunt lived to 104, and they had one of Turner's paintings, a copy, of course, on their wall. And I as a young child, I would look at that painting and I was just drawn into the storm and the boat. And, he's really gifted in that regard. I'm excited.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Remember what I discuss on these, on each one of them is something that you can follow in your painting. Each one of my statements is about how to paint romantic paintings, but it comes through your own reflection. I want you to feel it and reflect on it in your paintings. I have, years and years followed his technique, and it's very difficult, very difficult. He was a very, he worked totally away from everybody. He didn't want anybody to see how he paints. He was a very isolated man, never got married, never had any children. He spent all his life painting, although he was the dean of the school and all that too, but he painted. He's done, somewhere close to, I think, 9,000 paintings and watercolors and sketches. He was just constantly pouring out his emotion, just constantly. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about his technique, and this is what we're going to be doing throughout these series. I mentioned it in the video, glazing. And this is what you're going to be doing this time, glazing. Glazing is layering paints. And the way you do it is take your canvas, and the first thing you do is put one wash of retarder on it. Everybody has retardant medium? Everybody has retardant medium? Okay.
No, I don't. I'm sorry, I don't. What is that?
Okay, retardant medium, you can go to any paint store and ask for retardant medium.
How do you spell that?
Yeah, just you can. The best place would be to order it online now if you have the time. Otherwise, get a jar of retardant medium. It's like honey. It's a thin, sort of feels like honey, and you apply it. And the good thing about retardant medium is that it stays wet for at least half an hour. So you can apply another coat on wet on it, like you would do it in oil, because the problem with acrylic is that it dries too fast and you're stuck with it. This way, when you put a coat of retarder, then you can wipe it off if you don't like it. It would be just like painting with oil. So the first thing you're going to do, put a coat of retarder on your canvas. Okay, whether it's white or black. I usually start with black canvases, but doesn't matter, however you feel it. Put a coat of retarder and then just paint how you feel. Just paint how you feel, whatever it is. If you're pissed off, paint your being pissed off. As you're just painting, be pissed off. Have your brushes do it you're being pissed off. If you feel good, have your movements on the canvas reflect you're feeling good. You don't need to paint anything like anything, okay? Just reflect your emotion. I usually do it with a rag. You could do it with a rag, with your hands, with a palette knife, with brushes, doesn't matter. But make a big mess, as big of a mess that you can make, okay? That's your first coat. Do it wash, not with thick paint. So mix your paint with either water or retardant medium. Mix it so it would be flowing, very thin, like watercolor, okay? Now that your canvas is ready, just do this layer of watercolor the way you feel, not paint like anything. Don't copy anything, don't anything, just paint your feeling. Nobody's going to take it out and put it in a museum. So just feel free to just paint whatever you feel. Then wait until it's dry, which takes half an hour. If you want it to stay wet longer, humidifier is what I use next to my canvas. So you humidify the space so it stays wet longer. Otherwise, you're going to wait for about half an hour. Once it's completely dry, then you're going to do the same thing again. Put a wash of retarder and do another layer of thin paint on it. Now, as you apply the thin paint on it, your colors would change because you apply on the whole thing. Let's say your canvas had blues on it, and now you're applying a thin layer of yellow, and all of your blues turn into green. So you can get the deeper green or lighter green from the blues that you use and you apply on it. You're still not painting anything, okay? You are not painting anything. You're just playing. Wait till it dries. Then another one. Coat of retarder and a wash on top of that. Do several washes on top of each other. As you go after several washes, then step back sit down and relax, have a cup of tea or wine, sip of wine, whatever you feel like it, and look at the painting and look for things in it. Look for your beloved to tell you where to touch. So have the canvas tell you where to touch. And if it doesn't tell you anything, turn the canvas around. And just keep on staring at it. At some point, suddenly something pops up. Something pops up. Now go in there on what it popped up. First, do another wash around it to get rid of all the extras. Let's say you see a rabbit in your canvas, the head of a rabbit shows up, but then the ear goes all the way back on that side. So what you do is get rid of the extra ear. Don't paint the rabbit. Just get rid of extras. Okay? Do not paint anything to look like anything. Remember, you're painting your emotion, not your intellect. So memory should be shut off. So you're not painting anything like, as you look at it, see what are extra. Get rid of the extras. Okay? As you get rid of the extras, then without knowing, you're already in the total zone of creativity. That's when you don't care if you're hungry or if there's an earthquake or whatever happens, you don't even feel it because you're in a whole different zone. It's like being in a state of climax for a long time in front of your canvas. As you're in there, then things begin to show up and you play around with it. Remember, your concentration would be into bringing the opposite into each other. So let's say if you want to make a sun, you have to have the opposite of the sun around it. Which means if you want your sun to be bright, you have to paint what is around the sun in a dull way. And to dull a color, you apply the opposite of that color to it. Let's say you have a red and you want to make your red look dull so you can have your bright orange on it. So you want to have your red look dull. So you do a thin wash of what is opposite of red?
Green.
Green. So you do a very thin layer of green on that. So now you already made this whole red dull. Now when it's dry, you put a spot of orange on it and you're going to have this bright color coming up. I'm going to demonstrate these as we go through so you would get to know more about it. But this is the approach that we're going to be using. Pay attention to his approach in layering thing, in the glazing that he does, and listen to my descriptions of the works and get deeper involved with the emotion that he's put into every little part of the painting.
Master Sumaya, I've got a question actually. The light that he creates is completely mesmerizing. And I'm looking at it and I'm wondering, did he start off with the dark layers and then build the light? Or did he start with the light and then incorporate the dark?
He started with muddy colors. He started with the dull colors at the beginning, with the layer that he put, just a layer of wash. But his layer of wash wasn't just to take red from a tube and apply it there. He would mix it with green, with other things, and just the whole painting, surface of the painting is a mess when he starts, which is pretty much the way I do too. My whole canvas is a mess when I start. The way I do it, probably he did it the same way, because as you've noticed, I'm a pretty good thief. Because I stole it from him without you guys knowing that everything that I do in my paintings have been stolen from Turner. He's, the figures that you appear in my paintings, completely stolen from him. And the same thing with the light, with the layering, with the transparency that you see over the light and the darkness. All of these I stole from him. But as I said, I'm a good thief. And another good thief, even better than me, was Monet. Monet was a great thief. Monet made a whole school of Impressionism through stealing from Turner. And that's where the whole Impressionism developed, through Monet and Renoir, who were just stealing directly from Turner. He, as I said, he would not show how he would do the things that he did because they were, not normal stuff. The Impressionists learned and all of these got, later on to every hand. But he was the initiator of those. No wonder his canvases are selling now over $100 million because he is a giant in the art world. Hopefully, within these 10 days, 10 sessions, you would paint like him, not copying him, but take his approach of, it fascinates me to see the way he brings the darkness and light against each other, against each other. It's amazing. I keep on studying. I go to the museum to study that. There's several paintings of it that we have in LA, and I go just to stare at them to learn his approach. And you're going to be, whatever I've learned from him that reflects in my paintings, I'm going to be sharing with you.
From the comments in the chat, everybody's excited to go paint.
Me too.
They're ready. Yeah, I think we're all ready.
Me too. Yeah. In the technique, is there any question about the technique that he uses?
I was just going to ask you, so would you say, like, one way to say it is, to give ourselves permission to completely make a mess on the canvas at the beginning with dark colors and layers of retardant until we, have the right feeling to bring in the light and the dark and the lighter colors?
Excitement in life comes when we face challenges. If there is no challenge, there is no excitement. If you wake up in the morning and there's no challenge, you don't want to even get out of the bed. Facing challenges is what we get excited about. So develop facing challenges, and this is what he does. See, he makes the darkness as a challenge to put the light in it. So he starts with muddy, terrible looking black stuff as much as he can. And then his layers of washes that he goes get lights of him that you probably noticed it in here is that train that is moving. All we see is a fuzzy landscape. The whole thing is fuzzy. And then there is that train that we get into details of it. We see that is inside the train. He shows even the engine and everything, and the chimney which is above the train and all of that. But then he makes the whole environment out of focus, and that gives us this whole movement of the train. The train in the classic work would be perfect train and everything's right. But in his case, in this romantic way that he does it, the train doesn't even look like a train. It just feels like it.
Can I use a hairdryer instead of waiting the 30 minutes, or should I just put another canvas up next to it and play, on the second canvas until the first one dries?
It depends on your feeling. I would recommend that if you want to use hairdryer, do it, yeah, because that would help. Yeah, these days still, warm, it dries faster than usual. But, and if you want to work on two canvases, why not? Just have
Yeah.
you know, both canvases, just sometimes on this one, sometimes on that one.
Yeah,
Because
I
yeah.
wasn't sure if the air, like if it's better just to air dry versus using, directly, on the canvas with the blowing and the heat or the cool.
Yeah, blow it on canvas, that's okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes I even get uh, papers and just go like that to pick some parts of it, and it leaves some marks that I enjoy. So you could even do that, just, go with paper on it and play
Okay.
around with it when it's wet.
Thank you.
Sure. Any other question?
What about texture? I didn't notice a lot of texture, but what do you, I don't know, play around with that or?
We'll get to that. Definitely, we'll
Okay.
get to that. Yeah. We get to texturing and all that. These are the steps that we'll get as to get deeper into the romantic art.
I have a question.
Sure.
You might have said this, and I'm sorry if you did, but when we're doing the glazes, should we stick with just one color or like one color family, or like can we mix them on per layer? Do you know what I mean? Or should we do one color glaze and let it dry and then just have like thicker parts of the glaze? Do you know what I mean? Like so that it has the depth in the same color?
Yeah. In the earlier works, do as many colors as you want.
Okay, because it can be
All
muddy. So it
surfaces,
doesn't
all
matter.
in the first couple of layers, thin layers, do any color you want on top of it because you want to mess it up more and more. So do any color in there. But when it comes to the final layers, fourth or fifth layer, which is your final ones, then you get into pure bright colors that we get into that later on. But right now, as messy as you can make, go ahead and do it, knowing that later on you can even use the same canvas to make it, bright and all the excitement. So use large canvases, paint in there, mess it up, even show the messed up painting, put it aside. Throughout these sessions, you're going to get back on those and develop them as you can learn the different layering that we talk about. So make as much as a mess. All I want you is to be in the sandbox, feel like you're a 5-year-old girl, and you're just playing in the sandbox. You don't give a damn about your parents, weather, or anything that is there. You're just playing in the sandbox, making a mess. That's all I want you to do this time. There is actually a movie called Mr. Turner, and it won Academy Award and all that, which was, I think it was produced like 4 or 5 years ago. You can look for it and find it. It tells you about his character, typical Hollywood type of movies, that they ruin the artist because because they want to sell their works. Turner was not a nasty guy, but in this movie, he's pretty nasty. All right. Have a beautiful week. Enjoy Turner, and I see you all next week.